I found a fanfic shipping me with my enemy, and the mysterious admin was him all along. The moment I clicked that cursed link, my entire life turned into a bad Wattpad fever dream. Worse, the fanfic was so well written, I couldn't even hate it properly. My name's Eli Granger, an Omega senior at Reedridge High, a sleepy school in Oregon where nothing exciting ever happens until someone decided to ship me with Caleb Thorne. Caleb, the beta I'd sworn to hate since freshman year. The guy who made my blood boil just by breathing the same air. The guy who once pushed me into the fountain on homecoming week. That Caleb. And now, apparently, I was his destined lover in a fanfic so spicy and romantic it gave me goosebumps. First, I thought it was a prank. Someone from our school had posted it anonymously on a popular BL forum, using thinly veiled names Elliot and Caden. But there was no mistaking it. The details were too real. The way Caden tapped his pen when annoyed, the subtle scent of cinnamon from Elliot's hoodie, the locker room tension, the hallway glares, the biology lab accident, all lifted from real-life moments. I would have gone nuclear if not for the writing. The story was captivating, poetic even. It painted our hatred like a slow-burning storm that hid something more electric beneath. I read every chapter, twice. What disturbed me most? A part of me wanted it to be real. Things came to a head when the latest chapter dropped, one that described an imaginary moment behind the auditorium, where Elliot caught Caden, staring at him with longing. The twist? Caden whispered his real name. My name, Eli. My fingers shook as I stared at the screen. Someone at school knew, someone close, and someone who wanted me to see it. I made it my mission to find the admin. It took 2 weeks of digital sleuthing. I created a fake account, messaged the mod pretending to be a fan, even dropped flirty lines to bait him. Whoever they were clever, always dodging direct questions. Until I slipped up and mentioned the auditorium scene. The response came quickly. Funny, that's exactly where you stood that night. Looking at me. I froze. No one else had been there. I bolted to the only person who could have written it. Had been there that night. Caleb Thorne. The hallways were quiet. Lunch hour. I found him by the gym, sipping from a sports bottle like he hadn't turned my world upside down with romantic fanfiction. You? I hissed, slapping a printed copy of the FIC against his chest. He caught it, brow raised, eyes dancing with amused confusion. You're a fan. You wrote this. Don't lie. He didn't deny it, just looked down at the cover page and smiled sadly. You weren't supposed to find out. My heart thudded. Why would you? Why me? Why us? You hate me. I never hated you, he said softly. I just didn't know how to deal with what I felt. You were always ahead, smarter. Everyone liked you. And I'm not great at showing things the normal way. You shoved me into a fountain. You made me feel things I didn't want to feel. We stood there, the unspoken truth thick in the air. Caleb's walls had cracked. And for the first time, I saw the boy behind the snarky comments and cruel smirks. You were the one person I couldn't ignore, he added. So I wrote. It was the only way I could be honest. Something inside me shifted, because I saw myself in those stories too. The me who watched Caleb when he wasn't looking. The me who memorized the way his laugh lit up his face when he forgot to be guarded. The me who always wanted more from him, even if I didn't know what more meant. We didn't speak for a long moment. Then I whispered, You made me feel it too, through your words. We started hanging out more, under the guise of creative collaboration, for an English project. But everyone could see if tension that had once been animosity now simmered with anticipation. At the Halloween dance, we stood awkwardly near the bleachers, watching the couples on the floor. Caleb leaned toward me, his voice nearly drowned by the music. I've written our ending, he said. I turned to him. Yeah, but I'd rather live it with you. I laughed, breath-catching. Was that one of your fanfic lines? Maybe, but I mean it. And then he kissed me. It wasn't fireworks. It was something deeper. A long exhale after holding your breath for years. A finally moment wrapped in awkward sweetness and trembling lips. Months passed. We grew into each other, not perfectly, but real. Caleb kept writing, now with me beside him, co-authoring our chaos. Our stories weren't fiction anymore. They were lived, flawed, beautiful. The school eventually caught on. There were rumors, sure, whispers in the hallway, but no one dared say anything loud. Because we owned it. Because we were honest. And that honesty gave others courage too. By spring, 2 more couples came out. One alpha-alpha, one beta-omega. Love, it turned out, was contagious. Graduation day. As we walked across the stage, caps in hand, fingers brushing, Caleb leaned over and whispered, "You were always the main character, Eli. I was just lucky to be written in." I smiled. "No," I said. "We wrote this together." Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.